So I just spent a week in Scotland with the S25 Ultra as my only camera and daily driver. This was honestly the ultimate test because I couldn't retake honeymoon photos if it failed. So here's how I performed when it really mattered. All right, so 2 days ago, got married, and I had this whole intro sequence that I wanted to show, a B-roll of us getting here, but then stress happened and time happened, so that didn't really happen. But the phone has been great. I'll kind of show you what I have going on here in 1 second. I'm at 4% up here. I'll kind of show you my battery here. Let's go in here. So I only charged it once when we got on the plane to actually come here. Granted, this was like 12 a.m. Eastern time, right? So 12 a.m. Eastern time, and it's now at 4% from around like 80% after a whole 8-hour flight. And it's currently, 12:17 p.m. there. So, I mean, I don't know how good that is or not, but like I said, it wasn't fully full. So 30 days into using this phone, and the biggest test came, weeks after I switched from the iPhone. This wasn't about daily use anymore. It was about trusting a new phone with once in a lifetime memories. So if this phone couldn't call an Uber or navigate us around or pay for things or just capture the moment, I would be stuck on one of the most important trips of my life without being able to capture the most important moments. So this honestly just became a real world stress test. So with all of that being said, let's just get started with the practical stuff, navigation and daily use. So Google Maps worked exactly how a Maps app should. There are no real complaints there. And I did have a couple issues with it where it didn't account for elevation changes. It had a situation where it was telling me it would take an hour to walk up a mountain, and it actually took us like 2.5 hours. And so it begins. We're dying. We are actually dying. How far we have left to go. And this is how far we've come. I don't even want to say that's halfway. But on to the top. Yeah. I feel like my dad right now. This is the stuff that he does. But we got all of that to go. But we're over halfway. How you doing?
Sweaty, but good.
Good. All right, you ready to finish it off?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Well, we made it to the top, and now we're on our way back down. And then there's also a situation where there was a restaurant that was right below our Airbnb, and it was telling us to go around the block, which would have took us down the hill and back up a hill just to get to something that's literally right below me. But other than that, it was fantastic. And there was also this feature that Google Maps had. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is probably the best thing about navigation here. It just tells you where to go, Have the arrows on the side if you want to, show. Now, granted, I understand that this is like a Google Maps feature, so not like a Samsung specific feature, but when you're on Apple, you have Apple Maps, so why would you use Google Maps? So, yeah, just saying. So like I just said, the live view feature in Google Maps is nothing new. It's new to me, but in the situation of, you're walking around with Apple, you have a designated Maps app on here, so there's no reason to try something different. So switching forced me to try something different, which ended up becoming really useful because I was able to find a tool that I didn't know existed. So let's get to the real test that everyone is probably wondering about, which is the cameras. So I did a small test in my unboxing of this phone between, this phone and the iPhone. And this phone kind of like blew me away already there. But this was a real test because now we were changing scenery, changing lighting conditions, using it in all sorts of different environments. And honestly, it blew me away. I took over 1,000 photos easily, and it did not skip a beat. The crazy thing is that I had this camera with me that you guys are looking at me through, and I chose my phone camera over this one like 95% of the time. It honestly just became my go-to for everything. Also, one thing that really surprised me was the low light performance. Like there were situations where I was at the Royal Tattoo and you know, it's all nighttime, it's all dark, and it was able to capture footage like beautifully. There's also situations where I was like just outside trying to take a picture of something and it looks like it's daytime outside. It's actually kind of nuts. And you know, bringing it all together, I mean, it just handled everything that I threw at it and I couldn't be more happy about it. So the battery here, as you saw in the clip earlier, I mean, it lasted the entire plane ride, which is actually kind of nuts. I didn't think it would last, but even while I was there every other day, it lasted just as long. So we got a late start today. We're only really an hour into the day, and we started at 100% and we're at 87 after just, you know, navigating the two places. So we're gonna see how the battery life is gonna hold up for the rest of the day with taking a bunch of pictures, capturing the moment, and doing some hiking of the hills here. So I'll keep you updated. All right, so after climbing one of Scotland's highly rated hills, technically it's a freaking volcano, where we were both dying, the battery percentage is sitting at 58%. At 58% here, and it's doing pretty well. I mean, I literally used Google Maps the entire time. With that being the case, I'll see y'all on the street of Dean Village. Okay, so it is now 6:52. It's kind of late now. We've been walking all day for a long time. I'm tired and I'm sweating, hence why I only got the white beater on. Like I said, 6:52 and the battery's at 27%, and it's been doing pretty well. I'll show you. You can see it's been doing pretty well, with it only being 63 still. I don't think it's gonna last the rest of the day, so I might end up having to charge it, but that's okay. I might have like 3% left and be cutting it close, but I didn't have to actually worry about the battery life of this phone. So battery, 100%, it was great. Now, there's one thing that I genuinely missed about my iPhone, and that was FaceTime, but not because of the reasons that you think. Being on my honeymoon, there was a lot of situations where I was around all of this beautiful scenery and I wanted to share it with my family, and there was no way for me to actually call them to show them what I was looking at. I would have had to tell my wife, hey, can I borrow your phone to FaceTime my family? And I didn't really want to bother her with that. So I didn't really get to use FaceTime or show my family in the moment what I was seeing. But honestly, that was the only friction that I really had between the ecosystems. There was times that we wanted to share photos with each other and I had her download the Local Send app, which is basically just an AirDrop replacement, and everything worked beautifully. So after a week in Scotland, was switching to this phone actually worth it? Well, yeah, it was. But let's be clear about it though. I didn't switch just because I was going on my honeymoon. I switched because I was genuinely curious about what Samsung had to offer, and it just so happened to be over the same time that I was going on my honeymoon. But this trip proved that it can handle the most important moments of my life, and it captured all of the memories and never let me down. But all of that, honestly, I can see myself sticking with the S25 Ultra. I don't see myself switching back to iPhone anytime soon, except for maybe the iPhone Air, only because it's something new. But even that is a stretch. So the S25 earned its place as my daily driver because it captured all of the memories that I could not get back if it didn't. So if you want to see what I do with this phone next, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And also in the comments, let me know if you've ever thought about switching ecosystems, or if you did, tell me what the hardest part was. But that's all for me. I'll see you in the next one.